Hello, I am Dr. Tyra Hodge. I'm helping you with parenting and teaching. It's kind of weird because I feel that I kind of cross over into both as far as being a parent and working with parents for many, many years, and then working with students. You have to work with parents. And so I like to talk to teachers and parents because I feel that there's a lot of help needed in both areas. And so today I just kind of, something came to my memory about 6 months ago. My youngest son, was getting a little weird about hugging me and stuff just all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I realized that it really wasn't out of nowhere. I had not given him a hug in a very long time. And so the fact that I had tried to hug him became very weird and uncomfortable to him. So I actually had to have a talk with him about that. I said, I'm still your mom. You're still my baby boy, and I don't want it to be weird for me to touch you. I said, you don't have to kiss me on the lips anymore. You're bigger than that, but I would like a kiss on the cheek. And I put it on his older sister since he looks up to her. She always gives me kisses on the cheek. And he was like, oh, okay. And so what I did, following that point every day. So I've been very fortunate this year that when I went back to work, that because I was off for the summer, when I went back to work, I was have been able to get home before my kids. And so anytime he walks into the door, as well as with the youngest, he's 14, she's 13, but she loves the hugs and the kisses still. And so I made sure that no matter where I was in the house, I came to greet him. I greeted him with a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And so it's been, maybe about 5 months later now, to where he really looks forward to being greeted when he came home. And what I noticed is that because I greeted him, some days he really needed that greeting because he had a rough day, whether it was with basketball or being picked on a little bit at school, or just having a rough day with his teachers. That familiarity in walking in his home, which should be a safe place, and it isn't always for children, but you want to create that safe place environment for them. On the flip side is that sometimes as a teacher, your classroom could be, or that school setting could be, that safe place for those kids. And so when they walk, when I greet the kids in the morning, I make sure that I greet them in some type of way, whether it's that fist bump, whether it's the handshake, however they like to be greeted. A few of them want that side hug, and I always make sure that it's just a side hug, just around, side to side, so nobody can make any, bad judgments on it. It's just and the students need that. And by doing that, you also get to measure their temperament of the day and how they're coming in. Sometimes our kids, the students that we deal with, come in with the weight of the world on their shoulders. In your classroom is their safe place. I have always worked with students with emotional disturbance and that have behavior issues, and I became a specialist in that. So I've always had to study these kids, and I've spent most of my research studying the relationship between as teachers and students with emotional disturbance. So the tip I'm going to give you today as a parent and as a teacher is to make sure that you're really greeting your kids. I have one more story for you. My oldest, which is now 21, but I remember he was going into the 4th grade. It was the first day of school, and students are so excited about meeting their teachers. We didn't make it to meet the teacher, so he was going to be meeting his teacher for the first time. Sorry, still haven't had my coffee. We walked into the classroom, And the first thing the teacher said, our first greeting to her was her saying, "Go over there and sit down." I'm like, whoa, whoa. And I think he might have been a little shocked as well. That was our first experience with that teacher, the first engagement. Everything that I was going to build, my feelings around her, everything that my judgments and everything was based on that first moment of meeting her. And so people say first impressions are everything. Well, that was our first impression, that I was placing my child in the classroom of an unfriendly teacher. And sure enough, he had issues that year with that teacher. And so one day I felt like, as a parent, I had to call a meeting, because I felt that my son was placed with an unfriendly teacher for whatever reason. You know, she could have been having a bad day or just a bad morning on the first day of school. You know, I don't know. And so I know, as far as, people, parents and students, everybody has their own baggage, but sometimes we have to present ourselves in ways that we won't be judged, because we're not talking about just ourselves. We're talking about an impression on children that are lasting. We are working with our future. And so we need to make sure that our future is prepared as far as our students and our children. And so we want them to be welcoming adults. So we need to be welcoming with them. Not just that, building that relationship of openness and being able to greet each other may possibly open the door for those children to be very honest with you when the time matters. And so those are other stories for other times. This is Dr. Tyra Hodge. I'm talking to you about greeting your children and greeting your students. Have a good day.